Hey, we're live, guys. We're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is Adam and Gary from Two Dudes Pickin'. How are you guys doing?
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for having us on.
Yep,
Yeah. I've actually watched some of your interviews. I've seen you with Harry Tornado and Buffalo Picker and some of the other guests that you guys have had on Bearded Thrift Machine. So we've kind of had the same guest on. I just figured we finally meet up and hang out today. So
absolutely, we like learning from the other people and meeting people in the reseller community.
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
really interesting how open and friendly most of the resellers are. Most normal businesses, like a Walgreens and a CVS, they're not friendly, But all the other people that are resellers, it's like, hey, he's a reseller. How you doing? So
right. There's no competition amongst us,
No. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people that are watching in case they don't know who you are.
Sure. I'm Adam, and I live in Columbus, Georgia. I've been reselling, and I do it part-time for about 6 years now. And I had to go back and calculate that because I had been saying 7 and it was wrong. It's only been 6 years. But 2020 was my best year so far, and I've quite enjoyed it. And next year I'm going to try to knock it out of the park.
Yep. And I'm Gary, the other half of Two Dudes Picking, and I've been reselling now for about, I'd say on and off about 10 years or so, seriously anyway. And Adam and I kind of came up with that idea to do a show and a podcast, and here we are. I kind of got him started into the picking game, and haven't been able to get him out of it yet. Yeah, kicking and screaming, still haven't been able to do that.
You can't. It's extra money, and I love it.
That's right.
No, for sure. It can be addicting. So you guys are co-workers, right?
That's right. We work for the same company in Columbus, Georgia, and we met there at that job when we ended up working in the same department I think it was probably about 12 years ago. We actually met, and we've since gotten different jobs and moved on to different parts of the company. We don't technically worked in the same department anymore, but since 12 years ago, we were inseparable. We're great friends, play golf together, hang out on the lunch breaks together. We do still work in the same building together, so we see each other all the time. So that's how we met. Yeah, it was at our regular 9 to 5.
Okay, and so you guys were just like hanging out one day and you had lunch together, and he was like, hey, by the way, I'm doing this reselling thing. And is that how it happened? And then you guys been resellers ever since? Or kind of tell me the backstory of what happened.
Go for it, Gary.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it was, we were going to lunch one day, and I said, hey, do you mind if we pop in Goodwill real quick? And he's like, what for? I said, let me just show you what I do, And, I said, well, I'm just looking for different items that I can resell, and I'd pull up on my phone and show him how many, items I had for sale and, the prices that they were going for. And I said, look, here in Goodwill, you can buy a shirt for a couple of bucks and flip it into about 25, depending on what you get, and they're all in here, watch. And it's like finding money on the rack, is what I told him. And at the time, Adam was running another YouTube channel, and it was called Android Anthem, where he would actually do unboxings and reviews of different phones that were coming out. And he had to front a lot of the money to get the phones in the first place to be able to do the reviews. And so he thought it was a perfect way for him to say, well, this is a way that I can enhance my Android Anthem channel by getting the money to be able to buy all these different phones and devices and things, and then I can do the reviews, and I haven't really spent money out of pocket. So that was your motivation, right, Adam? I mean, I'm tracking that right.
Absolutely. And that one ended up turning into something where I got several sponsors on. That one started 7 or 8 years ago, but unfortunately, I lost all my sponsors, and I wasn't able to keep that one going. So it fell off about a year and a half ago, and which is why we picked up so heavily on Two Dudes Picking this year in 2020. We had started Two Dudes Picking back in 2017 with our podcasts, and it was mostly audio only. Sponsored on like Anchor FM, and then it would go to Google, it would go to Apple, and all those different popular audio only podcasting places you've heard of. Well, we were getting a lot of traffic on YouTube and not as much as we wanted on the audio. So that's when we decided we just needed to kind of switch gears a little bit and focus on YouTube, and then let the audio become a backseat driver, if you will. So that's why our YouTube channel more or less started taking off heavier in 2020.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I tell people that YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, right behind Google. So, you
Right.
might as well go ahead and do it, even if you're not into reselling. Even if you're like, your job is cleaning gutters, or I have a buddy of mine in Sonoma, and his job is garbage picking. He has a big garbage picking company, so he's like, hey, I'm
Mhm.
just going to make a YouTube channel while picking up garbage, and he gets so many clients that find him on YouTube that would never have found him any other way. So it just,
Hmm.
regardless of what field you're in, that's like your
Mhm.
new business card. Is, yep, here's my YouTube channel.
That's
Because
right.
regardless of what field you're in, people are searching YouTube. So I wanted to say hi to some people here in the chat. We got Wendy here today. Hey, Wendy. We got Alina Schultz. Thank you for coming by and hanging out with us today. And we got Megan Jordan says, hi, all. I'm a new subscriber from Australia. Found you after Back to Burnout. Yeah, we had
Nice.
Mel on about a week ago. So thanks for coming by and hanging out with us. She was a really interesting guest. We had a lot in common, believe it or not. Even though I'm in Tampa and she's in Australia, we talked on for like an hour straight. So thanks for coming by and hanging out. So tell people where you guys are located at.
Well, physically, Columbus, Georgia,
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'm in Salem, Alabama.
which
Yep.
they're about 45 minutes apart from one another, but our office
Mhm.
honestly happens to be right in the middle of both.
That's right. Yeah,
Oh,
we both work in Columbus, Georgia, and so that's it's I'm just across the river from him on the Alabama side. So, but yeah, like he says, we're about 45 minutes apart, but we do get to sort of meet in the middle on sounds like a country song. On days that we want to do go picking.
Yeah,
yeah.
we're not. I'm going in the office 3 days a week. He's not going to the office at all, so
Mm-mm.
we don't actually get to pick together very often because of COVID.
Okay, cool. We got a question in the chat. Wendy says, what are your favorite things to source or for reselling?
Men's clothing, mostly.
Yeah, typically it's the thing I pick up the most often. I'll say that. As far as my favorite thing, I love to find military gear and military equipment, specialized military things. Because since we're very close to Fort Benning, Georgia, we get a lot of that stuff that comes through the thrift stores, and so it's fun for me to pick it up. Because I tend to have some experience knowing what some of it is based on friends that I have and using it and all that good stuff.
I'll add on there that I really enjoy, like, my heart rate starts to pound when I come across a good set of golf clubs. I play golf, Gary. That's actually what we do whenever we can. I just laugh because pretty much all golf was canceled this past year. But when I found a really good set of golf clubs or a golf club, like a driver or something, my heart starts to pound because I know that stuff. I could say that's one of those things I know that I don't have to look up. I just know what it's going to go for. And if it's a good price, I just pick it up.
Yeah. We had Carolina Hustler here and Bearded Thrift Machine. Both of those guys sell a lot of golf clubs. We were at picking their brains and asking them questions.
They
Me,
have a
I personally,
load of golf clubs to choose from, but unfortunately in
yeah.
my area, either people keep their clubs and don't
Mm-hmm.
upgrade, or when they do upgrade, they do something else with it because you don't see golf clubs very often in our Goodwills and thrift stores.
Yeah, it's kind of few and far. But now we go to Atlanta, it's a different story. In Atlanta, you can find entire sets of Callaways for $10. I mean,
Yeah.
all day long. So that's an advantage to living in the big cities. Down here, yeah, as Adam says, we have plenty of golf courses, but people tend to hold on to their clubs for some reason. It's like family heirloom or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say my thing I like is video games, and I sell a ton of media. So if you guys
Mhm.
watch my channel, I have a ton of CDs, DVDs, video games, Blu-rays, VHS tapes, stuff like that. You can get dirt cheap for a quarter or 50 cents, and you could sell it for 10, 15, 20 bucks.
Mhm.
So, and also right now, if you look, since they switched over from PayPal over to managed payments, you get 10,000 free listings. If you have the basic store, which is like 21 bucks a month, they give you 10,000 free listings in those select categories. So I'm trying to max out those 10,000 free listings. I wanted to say hi to Hyphen Gold for coming by and hanging out with us today. We got a question in the chat from Megan. She says, how wide is your sourcing area, and do you travel to go sourcing? You like to travel a lot or no?
Go ahead, Gary.
I was going to say we try to get to Atlanta, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours or so from where we're at. Well, we haven't done it in a while, to be honest. But we used to try to get up there once every couple of months or once every 3 months or so. We would take a day off of work and we would, leave here at 6 o'clock in the morning. Treat it like a regular work day. Go up, pick all day, come on back. List our stuff up, etc. So with that, the range can be that. I mean, here's the thing though, I've been on vacation before. You know, and I'll pop into a Goodwill there or local thrift store, you know, down on the Gulf Coast of Florida. So, you know, you can find some really awesome items down there, some very good high brands and all that. So it really kind of depends. I mean, as far as how far would I be willing to travel, if this was my full-time job, I could honestly say I'd probably look at maybe like a 4-hour range, a 3 to 4 hour range of driving. But again, you could do so much picking in Atlanta. I mean, that's really, it seems to me, the only destination you would ever need.
Yeah, I echo that completely. This year was very different because of travel restrictions and whatnot. And I had several vacations planned for the year, family vacations, which got canceled because of the travel restrictions and whatnot. However, if I go on a family vacation, I tend to only maybe do one quick stop somewhere because I don't want to take my family vacation time away from my family to do that. I do, however, steal maybe an hour to 2 hours to do it. Daytona has got some good stores that I go to often when I go vacation to Daytona, Panama City Beach. Atlanta is the biggest by far. And that's an hour and a half away. But when you make a whole day of it and you walk out with buggies of goods and fill your truck up, you really don't need to source again for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, I was going to say, you do enough picking, you know, for a couple of months whenever you go up there. You know, I mean, you spend what, $150 to $200 picking. That goes a long way in Goodwill to get a lot of items. And so, you know, really the sky's the limit. I mean, we've dabbled in the idea of staying the night up there, like, you know, go up there, pick all day, go, you know, party all night, and you know, stay in a hotel or whatever, and then go back the next day and pick some more, you know. And
same stores, just make us sing around.
Yeah, exactly. So just in case we miss something. But
yeah, for sure. Definitely going to thrift stores and stuff can definitely be addicting. I mean, I just went to this thrift store the other day and I pulled out this old Nintendo Wii video game. I paid $1.50 for it, and within 24 hours, it sold for $50. So I was like, yes. I was like, let's go again. Let's get up and do it again. Yeah, do it again tomorrow. Yeah, when you could turn $1.50 into $50 within 24 hours, you're like, what am I sitting here at the house for? Let's go. Let's move. Let's go out and get some more merchandise, right?
What was the game, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't have it with me. It was like Nintendo Wii Party or something. If I have my
Mario Party something. Okay, yeah.
I don't have it with me on me, but if you check out my my eBay store is linked to my YouTube channel, you'll see it there. And also I do what's sold videos like once a week. So, but yeah, I mean, when you walk in and you're like, man, I found this item for $1.50 and it sells for $50 and it sells within 24 hours. It's crazy. Matter of fact, if you go back and watch one of my live streams from a couple days ago with the Kelly Hustle, I show him the video game that I bought that day for $1.50, and the next day it sold for $50. So it was crazy, man. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you guys, what is it like for you guys? Because both of you guys work full-time jobs. You're part-time resellers, right? And you guys, both of you guys have a family as well, because I get messages from people that saying, well, you don't understand. I have a full-time job, or I have a family, and I just don't have the hours to put into reselling. How do you guys balance your whole working your 9-to-5 job, reselling, and still having a family and a YouTube channel on top of it? So do you want to talk a little bit about your routine, your schedule?
Absolutely.
Yeah, Adam, you're going to have to take this. I have no clue how I keep it balanced, but
it's a matter of, okay, so in 2020, I was actually able to determine that a really good balance. One tip is I carry my GoPro I have 2 GoPros and several batteries. I carry them in my truck so that no matter where I may find myself, or if I just tend to drop by in an unplanned thrift store, I've got my GoPro on me. So that's how I can grab footage. And I've got one of the clips to put on my book bag or a chest harness. That way my hands are free while I'm recording. I've figured out how to edit videos and thumbnails all on my phone. So I can technically, any free time I may have, no matter where I may be, I could edit one of those 2 things. I don't have to be at home on my computer in the back of the house away from my family, which is a big thing for me. I don't want to make this away from my family. I would either A, want them to be part of it, or B, take away some of my own personal time to do it, as opposed to take away from my family time to do it. And I'm a night owl. I like to stay up late, but I still rise early. So when my family's gone to bed and my wife's probably fallen asleep exhausted on the couch because she's a teacher, that's when I'll take my pictures and I'll list and keep it going that way. That's how I balance my time.
Yeah, mine can be similar to that. I think that with me, the one of the advantages I have is that my kids are older now. They're 19 and 16, so I mean they essentially manage their own lives at this point. So there's not as much there. But the other thing is just having if anybody's getting into this or you're unsure about it, having that understanding with your spouse that this is going to be one of those things. Depending on how the money gets redeployed back to the family, it's almost like working a second job, and as long as they're okay with it. And they can see the benefits of you doing it, and I think it helps to grease the wheels a little bit.
Yeah, I like whenever somebody in my family sees me making the money, and then they ask me, "How do you do that again? Like, can you tell me how to get started?" Sit down for a second. Let's have a conversation.
Right.
Yeah, I always like it when they hit you up for money, and they're like, "Hey, can I have some money?" I'm like, "Here's an app. Get to work. Get busy.
Yeah, exactly.
So then. Yeah, right. And they'll be like, well, I don't know how to do it. I'll be like, watch my YouTube channel.
I like teaching people how to fish rather than giving them the fish,
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's for sure. You definitely want to be able to teach a man how to fish instead of feeding them for a day. Let them figure out how to do it for themselves. But
Yeah.
I had a question in the chat from Megan. She says, I am currently thinking about 2021 goals and growth for my eBay store. I'm a one-person operation. I have a regular full-time job as well. Do you have any suggestions for goals for next year, 2021, and growing your eBay store?
Keep it. Definitely stay within your time frame. Don't wear yourself out. If you start to wear yourself out, if you are staying up too late or your body's sending you signals about you don't have enough sleep or something, listen to your body and slow down. You're pushing too hard, too fast. Know your limits. If honestly, I don't think a part-time reseller really has a realistic I don't think it's realistic for a part-time reseller who has a full-time job to keep 10,000 things in their stores. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, awesome. If you're not wearing yourself out and you do it, that's amazing. I think realistically though, anything within the 500 or less range is maintainable and easier to manage.
Yeah, I think it comes down to having sort of a discipline that you set out, like a schedule. So you're working a full-time job and you have a schedule based upon how you do your full-time job. Your time allotted to household activities, to cooking, to cleaning, to taking care of children, whatever it may be. You have to sort of employ that same level of discipline whenever it comes to working eBay as, say, a part-time, endeavor, where you're, allotting this amount of time. I'm gonna take pictures for an hour. I'm going to clean items for an hour. Whatever it may be. And then I'm going to list. Maybe I make one certain day my listing day, or 2 days a week my listing day. That way it never feels overwhelming all at once, like you're just in this rut, constantly doing. Because at some point it's fun to make money, but it's also fun to, have freedom and enjoy the money that you're spending. So, don't, as Adam said, don't overload yourself too far to where you can't make it manageable and enjoyable.
Yeah, when I was working a full-time job, I used to pull all my orders the night before and then maybe put them in the back seat or the trunk or in the floorboard of my car. So that way the next day I would be able to drop them off. Maybe on my lunch break or something at work, I would swing by the post office and drop them all off at the post office. So just having a schedule and a routine. Megan says she currently has 1,700 listings. So you know what? Just give yourself a goal and say, okay, I have 1,700 listings, and say my next goal wants to be 2,000 listings. You don't have to go overboard, but just give yourself like little baby steps to take along the way. I wanted to say hi to some people in the chat. We had Lester Jones here today. We got my man Richie Hustles is here. He's taking a break from hitting up all the retail stores. So thanks for coming by, Richie Hustles. And we got Shamrock Pixie in the house. So if you guys have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it in the chat, okay?
I noticed Megan's the one, she asked the question about the growth, but she also said that she's got 1,700 listings. And I think that's amazing. If she's got goals to go beyond that, she's really, I think you're really starting to figure out that you still got extra time, extra room. So no, I think honestly, you may have suggestions for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you could definitely grow your store. I've got about 5,000 items listed right now between my two eBay stores, and I'm trying to grow to 10,000. That's my next mile marker. So you definitely can do it. What I try to do is get small items that'll fit in like this. This is a 6x9 padded envelope. So 90% of the items I have fit in this 6x9 padded envelope. So once you get to the point where you have 2, 3,000, 5,000 items in your store, space is going to become an issue. So you don't want to get items that take up a lot of space. So that's why when you guys watch my videos, you'll see me. I'll be like, hey, I sold this CD or this audio book or this Blu-ray or DVD. You want to get smaller items that's not going to take up a lot of space, but it's definitely doable, especially if you have time on the weekends. It's just about priorities. There's some people that want to watch Sunday Night Football instead of listing items. Why don't you just do both? You can watch your game, and then during halftime or during the commercials, you can be listing items. Just have like your chips, your drink, and then you have your items in the seat next to you, and you could just be listing items on the commercial break. It's however you want to do it. So
taking pictures and not listing, but just taking a bunch of pictures sets you up to be able to list no matter where you are, especially if you use those pictures if you take the pictures on your phone, and you can save drafts and adjust them later and just get started like when you're in your eBay room with your products. But when you're away from your products, then you can take care of the actual listings. I was going to ask you, you've got 10,000 things. You said you answered it actually, but you said 90% of them will fit in that little envelope. So
yeah.
Space is got to be that's a huge issue. I'm in a guest bedroom, and this is all the room I have for as far as space is concerned for products and shipping supplies and things like that. So I've got this to work with, and I have to stay within those boundaries. So I really don't think that anything over 1,000 items is really something that personally I'm going to be able to manage simply because of space, like you were saying earlier.
It just depends. Like I said, I was watching a video the other day, and they said there's 3 obstacles that resellers have: is time, money, and space. So those are going to be your 3 major obstacles, because sooner or later you're going to hit this glass ceiling and be like, okay, I have no more space, I have no more money to invest, I have no more time to list these items. So I have a big shed in my backyard, and I have a big 5-bay garage, so I have more space, but I'm thinking like, can I get 10,000 items just in this shed? So I'm trying to get smaller items because, like you said, you have bins, you only have so much space that you can use. So that's why I try to stick to items that I get free listings, where I don't, because at the end of the 30 days, when it auto relist, you don't have to pay 0 insertion fees, and also it doesn't take up a lot of space. I can stack DVDs or video games or Blu-rays to the ceiling, and it doesn't take up a ton of space. So when you're getting items for a quarter or 50 cents or $1, you don't have a ton of money tied up in that item either. I wanted to catch some people in the chat in case I missed some people. We got Andy Meta is here. Thanks for coming by. We appreciate you. Megan says thank you for the advice. We got Shamrock Pixie here. And I want to see, did you guys have any questions? Says thanks, Adam. This way I get to pay off my mortgage faster. I don't want to be working hard forever. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Pixie says, I will be making them live with my daughter, and so we can make chocolate stars turn out first. Okay. So if you guys have questions for some cookies. Okay.
Yeah,
so I want to talk about how you guys, their sales have been going into fourth quarter, into the Christmas season. Overall, how has your sales been? And since we've had the lockdown, we've had Christmas, fourth quarter coming up. How has your sales been so far going into fourth quarter?
Gary and I have always said that reselling is one of those things that you get out of it what you put into it. And so if you list, you're going to find sales. But if you don't list, you're not going to have good sales. This year in 2020, it's because of COVID. Honestly, I've had more time to list. And so my sales in general for 2020 have been better than any other year. And the fourth quarter alone, I hit like at Thanksgiving, I did a bunch of listing, and I did the best week I ever did in 1 week over Thanksgiving.
Very cool. Yeah. And as far as I go, I mean, I've been sort of hampered a little bit in listing and in picking. We moved into a new house, and that's always an endeavor. So starting in roughly about the late spring to early summer, we started the move process, and then moving into the new house, getting everything situated. And now there's always a project around the house. So, a lot of my time is taken up with that, but I still find the opportunity to list here and there. And I will say that as far as fourth quarter and just general sales, it seems like, even doing it in a very part-time manner, I'm still getting a lot of sales, a lot of things hitting. After I list them, I'm still getting things going out the door. So, if this was more scalable for me, then I would definitely be making a lot more money, if I dedicated more time to it. But as Adam said, you get out what you put in, and that's 100% true.
Well, I just wanted to say, in case you guys are watching, even if you have a family, even if you have a full-time job, you can still make this work. You just have to want to make it work, and it has to be a priority to you. But you can make some decent money just even doing it part-time. You don't have to be driving for Lyft or Uber or doing DoorDash. You can just work from home on very part-time on the weekends or whatever if you got some downtime, and be listing items and ship it out. Like if you sell something on Friday, you have till Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you have till Monday to get it shipped out the door. So if it's something that you just wanted to do part-time, you could still make a living at it. You don't have to just say, oh, well, I don't have, I'm already working a full-time job, or, I have a family, I have no time to do it. If you make it a priority, I believe you can do it. You just have to be able to kind of sink your teeth into it. And it's okay to screw up and make mistakes. You're going to learn as you go. You're going to make errors, and you're going to have, you're going to have items where you swapped them and put the wrong shipping label on the wrong package. I mean, stuff like that's going to happen,
Been there, done that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Still making errors.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about how you guys are able to do sourcing with this lockdown and with all this craziness that's been going on this year. Do you have any other creative ideas or creative ways to do sourcing while on lockdown, or do you just go from your death pile, or what's the plan?
Oh, go ahead, Adam. You want to take this first?
Well, death pile for sure was what kind of kept me going in the beginning. And then I found an app. I don't think it's a secret or anything, but it was the first time I ever came across it. It's called the Neighbor app. And so I put a little, it's kind of like Facebook Marketplace, but just a completely different venue. I put a little posting out there on the Neighbor app and asked them, before you go to Goodwill, before you drop it off at Goodwill, hit me up. I like to give cash for your donations that would go to Goodwill. And so I had 2 or 3 people actually ping me on that, and I got some good products out of that too. Then Facebook Marketplace has become my kind of like my third sourcing spot in the Columbus area. You don't find a lot of stuff, but every now and again, you got to be on top of it. Every now and again, you find something really good worth your time, but it's maybe once every 2 weeks, maybe, because they put stuff in my area. They'll put stuff on Facebook Marketplace for as much as you would list it on eBay. And I'm not going to pay those prices to resell, right? But I found for example, I found a GameCube system with 3 or 4 or 5 games, and she only wanted $30, and she sold it to me and for $30, and the GameCube I sold for 80. It had 3 really good Mario games in it that each one of them I sold for more than $50, and then the last 2 games I paired together and I sold them for $30 as a whole. So I mean, I made a killing off that one $30 Facebook Marketplace pickup.
So I remember that story when you told it. So that was quite inspirational on that one. It was like, wow, I mean, just again, a couple of minutes of your time. I was going to say that I live in the great state of Alabama, so we don't lock things down here. So as far as sourcing goes, as long as you're willing to have your temperature checked at Goodwill, that's about all it takes. And they do it with a little forehead thermometer, thank God. But no, it's
like 6 feet away. It's so crazy.
Exactly.
It trips me out every time. They mandatorily take your temperature as you walk in the door, but they'll do it from maybe 6 feet away. Like, that's going to do anything.
I keep making them read me back my temperature because I just want to know.
I
It's like I asked them, I said, so do I have it? And they're like, nope. I'm like, okay, cool. And so, but that's the thing, is like, we just go, I mean, it hasn't really slowed any of that down. As a matter of fact, I think we were having the conversation one time that said that, during COVID, everybody decided to clean out their house and stuff like that. You're stuck in the house. What are you going to do? All right, well, I guess spring cleaning came early this year and lasted all year. And so people would donate more. And so as the thrift stores, kept getting an influx of items, it was just more to choose from. And, we've actually had a couple of new thrift stores open in our area. Despite all this, which I was actually shocked by the other day. I took a picture and I sent it to Adam. I said, hey, Adam, the old Gander Mountain building, close to me, look at this. It's an America's Thrift Stores has opened in there. And, I just sort of discovered it. It wasn't like they put it in the newspaper or flashed an ad on TV. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I was like, all right, cool. Well, let's go check it out. And we did, and ended up leaving with a few items that should sell pretty well. And it's just worth the trip right before dinner with my wife. So.
Yeah, awesome. I was going to say, during the lockdown, I've been buying a lot of wholesale lots. You can go on eBay and then buy a wholesale lot of DVDs, CDs, video games, or whatever, and have it shipped to your house, and then sell them off individually. I shop a lot of pawn shops. They stayed open during the lockdown. And 3 is I would do some retail arbitrage. I'll go to a Dollar Tree a lot. I go to Walmart clearance and check it out. You can do a lot of retail arbitrage if you're looking around, because everybody else is indoors, and you got your pick of the litter. You go in there and go start cleaning house. So I wanted to say hi to some people in the chat in case I missed some people. We had Gravity Goods come by, hang out with us. We got Alina is here. She says, I agree with making enough money and reselling. I want to get a storage shed out back. I agree with Megan about trying to pay off your loans faster. We got Prison to Profit here in the house. Richie Hustles is here. He says, I want to know if any resellers ever thought about switching to Amazon or managing both. Why or why not? We got Wendy here. We got Megan. She says Amazon is not big in Australia yet. And so I wanted to see, we got Gravity Goods here. And Alina says, you said you sell a lot of men's clothing. When do you include your measurements? And most time consuming part of it, listing clothing. I don't know if customers really pay attention to the item. And I wanted to give a shout out to Prison to Profit. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. We appreciate you, bro. He was doing a giveaway with Fundamentals of Side Hustling, so I got to catch your giveaway. I'm doing a giveaway on my channel here around the end of the year, around Christmas time. So you guys stick around. I'll be doing a giveaway as well. I did a giveaway earlier when I hit 1,000 subscribers. I gave away a $100 eBay gift card. So we'll probably be doing something like that again this year. So just hang out right around Christmas, New Year's. Just tune in. I'll be doing a giveaway on my channel as well. So do you guys want
to? Do you mind if I throw in a plug for our podcast this weekend?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So Gary and I are also doing a giveaway, a Christmas giveaway this week on our podcast live on Thursday. This coming up Thursday, December 17th at 8:30 p.m. We've already done the picking. We're going to give away over $500 worth of potential profits in our live podcast this Thursday. But that's just the big win. We're going to have door prizes as well. What we want everybody in the chat to participate, and you've got to be there to win. It's going to be a live trivia game, and the top 3 winners take home eBay potential profits.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny because people think when you're a reseller or a YouTuber that you're about taking, but no, we're about giving back to the community, however way possible. So it's funny because Yeah, especially around Christmas time. Why not, right? So do you guys want to tackle this question we had here about listing men's clothing, about the measurements? And then we had another question from Richie Hustles about Amazon. Go ahead.
I used to put measurements in my listings, and I did it because I thought that's what people wanted to see in order to make a decision to buy. A couple of things made me change my mind. One is I felt like they didn't pay attention to them anyway, because I would get returns from people who would buy an item that had measurements listed, and yet they'd still say it didn't fit. Also, I did several interviews with not just family members, but friends. And I asked them, hey, what are your measurements? Just generic. I was just like, what are your measurements? Tell me your measurements. And no one knew the answer, really. Like, they don't know their own measurements. If I asked them, what size shirt do you wear? Oh, large. They know that, right? So I quit putting measurements in my descriptions. I quit putting measurements in my pictures because, as she was saying, it takes a lot of time and nobody was using them. I sell just as much clothes as I did before when I had measurements. And actually, I have less returns. Now, sometimes when people send me a question for measurements, I'll give them the measurements then, right? And if I have to go through the steps of measuring it, I'll go ahead and upload that one particular item with measurements. But as a general statistic, no, I don't include measurements anymore unless it's something very odd, like a pair of Levi's that measures at 40-32, but you can tell it's not 32 and it measures at 29 or something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I used to put measurements for a while, and then I stopped doing it because I kept getting returns on them as well. People, I think they're a little bit more generous with the way they think of themselves as their sizing than what they turn out to be. Even when you put in there that this is a medium shirt that's an athletic fit, and somebody buys it, and then they say, I usually wear an extra large, and this wouldn't fit me. I was like, is this for real? Like, you're kidding me, right? So, but I've had those circumstances happen, and I really don't even think putting measurements would have happened. I mean, even when I buy a shirt, and I think of myself in the mind of the buyer, right? Do I actually take a measuring tape? Do I even know what my size is on a day-to-day basis? I don't. I mean, I'm sure that there's some folks out there that do. But I wouldn't even know how to base it on that. It's like, okay, well, I'm with this in the chest or whatever. I think most of it runs a certain size, and I'm kind of the guy that says, you know what, if I didn't get my size right and I guessed it wrong, well, it's mine to keep, and I'll just resell it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't sell a lot of clothing now, but when I did, I would still put, like, if the shirt was 2XL or extra large, I would just put that in the title, and if it was blue jeans, I would just put, like, 36, 32, whatever the measurements are. But I'm not going to sit here and, other than that, that's it. Because it's like, if someone asked you what size blue jeans you wear, you could say, oh yeah, I wear 38, 32s. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I wanted to say hi to Ben Flippin' Goods here in the chat. He says, hey, I'm new to the channel, been listening and listening this week. Thank you. Hey, I appreciate you for coming out. We've got a lot of great guests on the show this week. 2 dudes are here. I've got a guy coming on the show Tuesday. He has a fleet of rental cars, and I got Reyes the Entrepreneur coming on Thursday. So thanks for hanging out. We appreciate you. So
Absolutely.
I wanted to ask you guys the whole Amazon question. Have you considered Amazon? You for it? You against it? Like, what's your thoughts on the Amazon platform? Have you tried it out yet?
Haven't tried it out, but I've definitely looked into it. We actually interviewed Buffalo Picker on one of our podcasts, and he has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to Amazon. Learned a lot. In fact, that interview, I learned so much from him. I'm not going to say I got overwhelmed by it, but it made me realize that I'm not ready for it, because it really does take a lot of effort and a lot of upfront. And that's not personally, it's not a fit for me. I sell on eBay and Mercari, and that's it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I was going to say, I've tried Amazon a long time ago. I was trying to sell books, and I was doing merchant fulfilled, and then I would ship out the items, and then the customer, the post office either lost the items, or it didn't get sent to them, or they got a package and they got no book in the package. So it's like, I've tried it before and it didn't work out. And I've been focused this year in 2020 on trying to get my car paid off. So that way I didn't have car payments and full coverage insurance. Mm-hmm. So I've been working on that. And I've been trying to focus a lot of my energy on getting to 10,000 items on my main eBay store. And maybe once I hit that goal of getting 10,000 items, I'll look into it. My buddy, Rise and Grind Picker, I had him on the show twice already. And he said at one point he was doing about $70,000 a month selling on Amazon. That was his gross number, was $70K a month. So it's definitely an opportunity there. Wow. But to me, it doesn't make sense to start a new project till I get everything done that I want to get done right now. Does that make sense? So I was like focusing like, hey, let's get this car paid off and get this knocked out. And then once I get these goals in front of me done, then I'll sit down and come up with a new checklist of things. Richie Hustle says he started with $8. Go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. I started with things I found in my closet.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't start with any money. And when the things I had in my closet wouldn't sell, I gave myself $20 allowance, and then found stuff at the Goodwill for within $20. And then I paid my wife back that $20 she loaned me from the family bank account.
Yeah. So you guys have some give me your top 3 tips. If someone wants to be a reseller or they want to get started in this business, give me your top 3 tips, both of you guys, that you have that would help somebody if they wanted to be a reseller.
Let me tackle number 1, Adam. There is so much good, solid information on YouTube between the reseller community, between your show, our show, folks like Buffalo Picker, folks like Bearded Thrift Machine, Harry Tornado, you name it, right? I mean, these are just people like that, we've just interviewed. I mean, this is all, the names that I'm mentioning. But the thing is, there's so much information out there, because the one thing that I hear the most, people say, I don't know what to buy. Well, I don't know what to buy. I wouldn't even know what to even look for. Well, go to YouTube, and there's a wealth of information out there of people who will tell you exactly what to buy, what's out there, what's hot, what's selling right now, and where to find it. So that would be my number 1 tip. So I'll throw it over to you, Adam. Maybe we can tag team this back and forth.
Sure. My next tip is don't overwhelm yourself with so many choices, because Goodwill, I get asked the question whenever I check out a Goodwill, hey, did you find everything you were looking for? In my head, I'm thinking, I never came in here with anything specific in my mind. There's so much to choose from at Goodwill. Pick something you already find yourself familiar with. For instance, if you're someone who has a bunch of shoes in your closet, maybe you know a lot about shoes. So start there. What brands? Pick one area, one topic, and just start there. Do your research there, focus there, and then expand. But don't try to overwhelm yourself with trying to pick out so many different items from so many different categories if you're just starting off.
Yeah, to echo Adam's point on that, I always have an analogy that I make an analogy like poker, that when you first start playing poker, every hand looks like an ace, and you think you can win with every single hand. And when you walk into the thrift store, you think that you can just literally buy the whole store, and everything in the store, is profitable, and I'll make a ton of money on, and this and that. What you really have to do, I think, and this is tip number 2 for me, is balance what you think your time is worth versus what it would take to sell that item. If it's going to be something that you buy and you pay, say, $10 for the item, you're only going to make $5 or $10 on the item. You really have to ask yourself, is it worth it for me to go home, clean this up, take a picture of it, list it, stack it somewhere, babysit it for the next 6 months if it doesn't sell? At what point do you say, okay, it wasn't worth my time? So that's something that you have to figure out as an individual, is where is your time most used effectively? Go for the higher profit items, especially starting out early. Go for some quick wins, get yourself in it, get yourself some spending money. And don't fiddle about with trying to make $5 here, $5 there,
Mm-hmm. My last tip would be, and Richie was actually alluding to this in the comments, start with what's the word I was looking for? Don't spend too much money up front. Start with a small amount and grow from there. If you honestly, you can totally overwhelm yourself with sourcing.
Mm-hmm.
Sourcing actually is part of the funnest of this whole thing.
Yep.
But sourcing also costs money. And if you don't limit the amount of money you start with up front, then you're going to end up having, let's say, $10,000 worth of sourcing goods in your closet and on your shelves, and you're still in the hole maybe $700.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you got to start small and graduate up the levels as you make money. I can't think of a single company that started off with millions of dollars in the bank and made billions of dollars immediately, right? So don't take a loan out. Just start with what you got and then grow from there over time.
Yeah, and for my last tip, the only thing I would say to sort of add to this is that there's so many places to pick. It's not just Goodwill. It's not just Salvation Army and other dedicated thrift stores. Yard sales. Go to yard sales. You want to get some quick, cheap items. Chances are you probably know what the items are. The typical good brands of clothing that you've seen, and because you're getting it at such a cheap price, you can actually take the chance on a lot more things, and you can come away with a lot more to sell. So give those a shot. You don't always have to spend an hour in a thrift store digging in racks of clothing to try to find something. A couple of yard sales. And here's the thing, I'm going to add a bonus tip. Involve your family in this. Involve your spouse. Involve your kids. Because one of my kids actually wants to do this now as a job. He says, I'm tired of working. I'm tired of getting up and going to a thing and making, $7 an hour. I want to do this. And I said, well, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's bought items, he's listing, he's taking pictures. I see him, he's got, his camera out taking pictures, and I see him shove stuff in the mailbox for the mailman to pick up. So, for him, it's caught on. And that's where I would say, engage your family on this. And that way they understand the big piles of stuff that you have sitting around occasionally.
Yeah. I'm trying to get my family more involved too, because I've told them my 2021 goals want to be family oriented, not just Adam oriented. Right. And I feel like if they reap from what we sow, then they'll become more motivated to help out, if that makes sense. So we're going to do more family stuff with the earnings we make off of eBay this next year.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same type of thing. You can just look for stuff around your house. What I love about eBay is it has a barcode scanner. So just go around and start scanning barcodes. You'd be surprised with you walk into a place and scan a barcode. Like I'm parked right outside of Dollar Tree. I just sold an item that I bought at the Dollar Tree for $1 and it sold for $18. But how would I know it is going to sell for $18? No, there's a barcode scanner,
Yep.
so you can just go around and just start scanning barcodes. That costs $0. And you just learn as you go. And the more you do it, the better at it you're going to get. And it's okay to, like I said earlier, it's okay to make mistakes. I wanted to say hi to Hot Flip Heidi for coming in the chat and hanging out with us today. We got Sal is in here with us. Wanted to say hi to Mel from Back from Burnout coming here to hang out with us all the way from Australia. We greatly appreciate you hanging out. Hyphen Gold says, I just subbed to 2 dudes. Was following you guys on IG. So
Thank
tell
you.
me where they can find you guys at on YouTube and Instagram.
Oh, pretty much everywhere at Two Dudes Picking. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Actually, to make it easier, we did www.twodudespicking.com, and that's what's in our Instagram profile. Since you can't put clickable links in posts on Instagram, but if you just type in Two Dudes Picking, that's gonna be us. If you do, one word, if you do it all the way across. We're on Twitter too, at Two Dudes Picking. Gmail is at two dudespicking at gmail.com. Send us an email with any questions or anything you want to know more about what we do. Questions.
I got their Instagram and YouTube is linked in the description. So you can click on that. It'll take you right there. And I wanted to say hi to Richie Hustles and Prison of Profit and Ben Flip Good. So talk a little bit more about, you said you were going to have your goals next year for 2021. Have you kind of sit down and figured out what you wanted to do with as far as YouTube and reselling? And, you said you're going to try and involve your family. You got to have family time in there. Do you want to talk a little bit about what your goals are for next year or 2021?
Hopefully, even though COVID's still a thing, Gary and I will be able to, you'll see both our faces on more videos together. Mm-hmm. It is difficult simply because of COVID. Honestly, I've got it's unfortunate, but it's true. Then you've got, I'm going to pay off my truck this year for sure. I've still got technically about 3 years left to pay it off, but I'm going to finish it this year. And then anything I go beyond that, I'm going to just say, the next goal is we want to go to Disney World February 2022. So anything beyond paying off my truck is going to go towards our Disney World trip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's sort of similar to that, increase the number of listings, that I put forward, carve out more time. And the one thing that my wife and I have done recently, we bought a Jeep Gladiator, and we're outfitting it to where we can take it camping all across the United States and basically do sort of like off-grid camping, go off-roading and then camp for the night, go off-roading again, that type of thing. One thing that we talked about was outfitting it based upon selling things on eBay. So that way we're not taking away from family budgets or money that would go, normally toward other household things and slowing any other household project down. This way we could use it and both be motivated, to put certain parts and get certain gear, puts gas in the tank. So if we want to go to the Grand Canyon, for example, for a week, it's not a big lift for us to do because, we've sold things on eBay and it makes it a lot more palatable to spend that money versus, trying to save up for it constantly. And then, always having to watch, how you're spending money because, you've had to sort of save hard for it versus, selling things on eBay where you can turn out pretty quick money to be able to do a lot of the things that you want to do.
Okay, awesome. So, so you guys are going to be working to get your truck paid off. You're going to be using money for family vacations. Mm-hmm. Can you guys talk a little bit about your YouTube channel? When you talk, what made you guys start your YouTube channel, and talk a little bit about that?
Well, YouTube, before, Gary and I decided to really start the podcast back in 2017 as an educational podcast to help people see how they get started on reselling. And it turned into a YouTube channel because we were getting more traffic on YouTube than we were on the audio. So unfortunately, we had some family stuff come up and we kind of had to put a backseat to all of that in 2018. And so we picked it up hot and heavy. Honestly, in 2019, we thought, okay, Gary, 2020 is going to be our year, right? It's going to be our year. We're going to pick up YouTube and we're going to do it. best year ever. And then when COVID hit, things just got in the way. But I kept it going as much as I could. I had a GoPro already. Gary lost his GoPro, but he ended up getting another one. So you're gonna, even though we won't be in the same video as often as we want to be, we're gonna have our own separate videos that we'll be able to upload. And to be very honest with you, that's one great thing about us being two on one YouTube channel is we can make more content from two different perspectives and work together on this effort rather than just letting it just overwhelm one of us. So 2020, well, the rest of 2020, it's only got a month, but then 2021, we've been through people like your channel, other channels who have had us on, like Finds, Flips, and Fun, and things like that. They've really helped us out grow in our subscription, and their audience is awesome. Your crowd here is excellent. I love the questions they come up with. I love talking about it and answering these questions that I haven't heard before. And so that's, I mean, obviously the plan is to grow in YouTube, and we've got lots of ideas to toss out there and see what sticks. I used to do Android Anthem, which was about Android cell phone reviews. And if you go over, if you have any history, I'm going to go ahead and leak something here. I haven't even talked to you about, Gary. One of the most popular types of telephone videos was drop tests. Would they survive? Right? Destruction. I think destruction brings forth a crowd. So I'm going to do some testing with some sort of something like that and see what happens here on our YouTube channel.
We're going to destroy something coming up, so stay tuned for that.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that. You should just shoot it with your deer rifle and see what happens. So I got a question. You guys do a lot of retail arbitrage. Do you have any tips or tricks that you could share with us if you're like at Walmart clearance section or out looking for some retail arbitrage? I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we do, for sure. With the there was
Ross is the word you're looking for.
Well, yeah. But what I was going to say is that there's our Goodwill, and I'm trying to think of a nice way to put this. They decided to go up on their prices considerably on a lot of things, and I think that's been the trend across the country from the people that we talk to. And so we said to ourselves, well, we're not going to pay the Goodwill prices for things. We're going to see if we can go other places. We'll go to Ross. We'll go to TJ Maxx. We'll go to Walmart. We'll go to where else, Adam? There's a couple. We had Tuesday morning was actually, I don't even know if people have Tuesday morning in other parts of the country. I don't know how national it is, but it was just kind of like a little, they take in lots of things and then they resell them, on their own. But there was still profit to be made in these places. And yeah, like you said, take the phone, the barcode scanner, and look up what the prices are going for in some of these places, because you can really be surprised. We were at Ross one time, and we hadn't planned on this. And we got surprised by the fact that they were having an end of the year absolute blowout clearance sale. And it wasn't that they advertised it. So you could get pairs of shoes for like $1 or $2, brand new Nike, Adidas, football cleats, soccer cleats, all kinds of things. And so we, kind of thought that the pricing was a mistake at first, but it wasn't. And so we said, I think we're going to need a couple of buggies here. And that's exactly what we did. We loaded up a couple of buggies and we left that store with several pairs of shoes. And they were quick flips. I mean, because at that price, when you're getting them for $1, you can, really kind of dictate what you want to sell them for and be profitable to how long you want to.
I would have bought all of them for $1,
Yeah, basically. Yeah. That's pretty much what we did, I think. Wasn't it, Adam?
Yeah, and I learned from that too. No matter what the price is, I'm not going to buy the size 18 baseball cleats.
Yeah,
they just sat in my closet forever.
Mm-hmm. But sorry, so that's the whole thing is about reselling is you can kind of swing for the fences and take a gamble. I was at Walmart a couple weeks ago, and I live in Florida, and they had these flip flops, and they were marked down for 10 cents a piece. I just bought all of them. I just bought all of them. It was like 200 pairs and I paid like $20 for 200 pairs. Cause in my mind, I'm thinking if I could sell them for at least $10 a piece times 200, I could turn $20 into $2,000 worth of merchandise. You can't lose when you're getting the stuff, at the dirt cheap. Yeah. I'm being like you, Richie Hustles. If you go out there and you could get, the double cart gang, right? That's what we're talking about. So Adam, I wanted to ask you a question, man. I saw one of your recent What Sold videos and you guys were talking about an Amazon like return or overstock store. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I really enjoy going to the store. It's only been open since October 30th, and they start on Fridays at $7, Saturdays $6, and they drop pretty much $1 as you go through the week, and they're closed Thursday for restocking. But I've been on $7 day, $3 day, 50-cent day, and I've found something every time I've gone there. I've never left out of there with zilch, and it's awesome. So usually most people think, okay, the first day you need to get there early, bright and early to get the good stuff, right? Well, I was just on this past Friday, I wasn't able to make it out there on the as bright and early, but they opened the doors at 9 a.m. But they start handing out tickets at the door at 5 a.m. for people who are standing in line, and there were people in line at 5 a.m. in the morning to get their ticket. I ran into a reseller while I was there at lunchtime. I only got there at 11:30. He had a cart, a buggy. Richie was saying buggies have been extinct since the 1800s. So he had a cart that was full, but he'd been there since 9 a.m. since they opened. He got in line at 5 a.m. I got there at 11:30, and I still left with the cart full. So, I mean, I ended up spending almost $100. Some of it was to keep for the house, but I ended up spending almost $100 to resell, and I was 4 hours later than opening time. So it's no matter when you go, I think there's still something worth finding there.
Yeah.
I was watching your What Sold video, and what kind of caught my attention is when it said you bought this item for like 50 cents and sold it for $20. So did they have a 50-cent day there? Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, they have a 50-cent day on Wednesday, the last day of the week. And you're talking about the
some powder? It was like some kind of powder or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was bulk supplements, some powder. I picked up this past 50-cent day. I picked up a Linux programming book, a college book that had a barcode on the back that said $95 original price, and I flipped it the next day for $43 free shipping. And what I did was I just sorted by lowest price of all active listings, and it was like the lowest was 45, so I put mine at 43, and it was the next one that sold. So
yeah, I just wanted to talk about the different ways, because I hear people that say, "Oh, it's wintertime. I can't find yard sales in my area. Thrift stores are raising up prices." So we guys are giving you some information right now. You can buy wholesale lots on eBay. You could go to pawn shops. I get items for 50 cents or $1 at the pawn shops. You can do retail arbitrage. We just talked about going to an Amazon return place. They have bins of stuff sitting there, right? I wanted to say hi to Buffalo Picker. He came in the chat. So thanks for coming by and hanging out with us. And Richie Hustle says double cart gang. So, so I appreciate you guys in the chat for hanging out with us. Hey, we're coming up on an hour, guys. So we've had you guys here on the stream for about an hour. I want you guys to give me your final thoughts on reselling and all that. Go ahead.
Final thoughts on reselling. To me, it is one of the easiest. It's not easier, but it's one of the easiest way to make extra money. If you, I mean, honestly, it's one of the easiest way to make extra money as opposed to getting a second job part-time. I grew up when I was growing up, and my first job was in the mall, and there were older people who would get part-time jobs during the Christmas season in the mall. You'd only get like $7.50, $8 an hour. But if you can resell, there's no limit to how much you potentially could make per hour when you resell. Now, it's not a one-to-one thing. It's not I mean, you can't guarantee a hourly rate every day of the week, but you, like I said before, you get out of it what you put into it, and if you can put some good time into it, you'll definitely see some good profits coming out of it.
Absolutely. And as far as what I would say, I wish I started this 20 years ago. I wish I had gone into reselling and looking at sort of this avenue back then. I mean, you got to think the internet. When I graduated high school, the internet was in its infancy, and web pages like we have today, I mean, it's not even close what was back then. I mean, we're all probably old enough to remember what those days were like. When I first sold my first items on eBay, it had to have been about 15, 16, 17 years ago. And I wish I had stuck with doing that. But what I was doing is I was basically looking at it as, say, all right, I've got some extra things around the house. I don't want to donate them or throw them away. I'm just going to sell them and see if they're worth anything. And it never clicked to me that, in the fact that I had these extra items that I was able to turn around and then sell, that if I could acquire items that were just like this and then resell them, that I could do that. So sort of the thought I have where I'm going with this is, if you're thinking about doing this, do it. Go ahead and do it. Jump 2 feet in and do it. Give it a shot, because you'll wish you had. You wish you had all that that lost time. The best time to start is now. Go ahead and do it now.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's a ton of people right now where companies are downsizing and people are being laid off, and it's really important to have multiple different streams of income, because if you have one stream of income, you show up to work, they say, hey, you've been laid off, now you're down to zero. So even if you have a full-time job, go ahead and just start trying it out on the side. If you need help, a lot of people in the community, if you send them a message on Instagram, or you just ask questions or show up in the live chats, there's plenty of people willing to help you. And like I said, it's okay to make mistakes and learn as you go. That's how you learn. I'm hard-headed. People tell me something and I'm like, oh yeah, don't stick your hand on the stove, and I'll do it. So I kind of screw up and make mistakes, and you learn as you grow. We had a question here in the chat that says, do you know you are, I don't know how, it says, if you're terrible at it, how will you turn it around? I'm terrible at book work.
Oh, that's a good question. Really good question. Was that from Megan? Good question. One thing that I'm terrible at, I am probably terrible about listing immediately, or taking pictures immediately. I'll pop, because I come home at 5:30, 6 o'clock at night, and I maybe went to Goodwill on my lunch break, and I'll come home with a bag full of goodies that I found. I don't jump on it immediately, and I need to be better about that, so that it's not waiting around by the weekend.
Yeah, and for me, it's taking the pictures and then procrastinating the listing. That's one thing that I'm really, really bad at. And by the time that I get around to the listing, I forgot a lot of the details about it, so I have to then go revisit the item again, as if I'm taking pictures for the first time again. So I think procrastination is something that haunts me in what I do. But
yeah. I'm struggling right now with just keeping everything organized, because I have two eBay stores, and I have over 5,000 items. And so I try to keep everything organized, where I'll say, okay, I have the Blu-rays here on the top shelf. I have video games here. I'll have DVDs here, and just kind of keep stuff organized. So whenever the items sell, I don't have to spend 30 minutes looking for it. So, I mean, there's other areas that you can improve on. So anyways, we've been streaming for an hour, guys. I wanted to thank Adam and Gary, Two Dudes Picking, for coming and hanging out with me today. I have their Instagram and YouTube is linked down below in the description. So go follow them and check out their channel. They're going to be doing a giveaway soon, and go follow them. If you guys have anything else to say before we let you go?
Hey, I just want to say thanks so much for letting us come on to the show. I loved the questions and answering with everybody in the chat. You got a great chat group here that has some really good questions. Even if you didn't subscribe, that's fine. I hope that you do, but please don't miss our podcast. The more people, the better. It'll make it even more fun. We're going to do things to help you get like the door busters and the door prize giveaways. Let's just say you're going to have a blast. If you haven't seen one of our podcasts, watch the very last one with Josh and Jake, Flips, Finds, and Funds. That was one of the most fun podcasts we ever had. Check it out, and be there on December 17th at 8:30.
Okay, got it. All right, I want to thank everybody in the chat for hanging out with me. I want to thank our guest, Two Dudes Picking, for hanging out with me, and go check them out. You guys have a great night. Have a great weekend. Bye.
All right. Bye. Thanks, y'all.